The box office take. So, Ashley, what went down at the cinemas this weekend?
Well, after the long holiday weekend, it's time for the weekend box office report brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. Finding Dory dominated the Independence Day box office, overcoming 3 new releases to claim the #1 spot for the 3rd consecutive weekend and picking up $50.2 million over the 4-day holiday. This brings its domestic total to $380.5 million. The follow-up to Finding Nemo is on pace to surpass Toy Story 3 and its $415 million haul as the highest-grossing Pixar film in domestic history. The Legend of Tarzan did better than predicted, swinging to $45.6 million over the long weekend for the #2 spot at the box office. Though it could be looked at as a hit for Warner Brothers, the Edgar Rice Burroughs Jungle Story was made for a reported $180 million, with millions more on marketing. Another new release, The Purge Election Year, took the #3 spot with $34.8 million over the 4-day weekend on a cost of only $10 million to produce, representing another summer success for Blumhouse Production. And the #4 spot was the last new release, Disney and Steven Spielberg's The BFG, which many are calling a flop. It opened at $22.3 million over the 4-day weekend, ranking as one of the lowest openings for Spielberg in his career. And in at #5 was Fox's Independence Day Resurgence, taking in $20.2 million. Mark, what are your thoughts on the busy holiday weekend and box office?
Well, my thoughts are no movie had as good of a weekend as Kevin Durant did. However, seeing Finding Dory at the top spot again is something that we all predicted simply because we didn't know what else was going to defeat it for 4th of July weekend. Tarzan had a lot going for it. BFG, I thought, had a lot going for it. And The Purge seems to have a built-in fan base that really loves watching these movies. Tarzan surprised me, but I still think it's going to be a disappointing haul overall for how much that movie cost, because it was $180 million, I think what Ashley said, and that's before you factor in all the advertising. So the movie making $45 million, that's good. We got to see how it holds week to week to see if it's actually going to be profitable here in the States. The BFG is the big bummer to me because I really enjoyed that movie. I don't know if you folks got a chance to check it out yet. It's really good, man. It's not a great Spielberg movie. It's not going to be an all-timer, but it's a fun movie. I thought it was a great family film for 4th of July, and I guess maybe Finding Dory took some of those dollars away. And I also think that people weren't really aware of what the hell the BFG was. It wasn't that much of a known property, even though it's based on source material that is a children's book. So there's a lot of shakeups, and I thought it might go down a little differently. The Purge seems to be just keep on chugling. So The Purge actually did better in each theater than The Legend of Tarzan did, but it opened on about 2,500 screens, I believe, 2,700, whereas The Legend of Tarzan was 3,500 screens. But again, you look at the top, Christian, and you see Finding Dory. That's no shocker. That movie really has some staying power.
Finding Dory, we knew was going to be a beast. We all knew it would be in the conversation for maybe the most profitable movie of the summer. That Civil War is kind of between 1 and 2. So the fact that it keeps making this money does not surprise me. It is the 2, 3, and 4 that you start talking about. The Purge is the one that stands out the most because the Blumhouse guys, they know how to make movies. They know how to make them the right way with 10 million. And I'm not talking about as far as quality goes. You say whatever you want about the actual movie, but they made it for what, $9-10 million. It makes, what did it make, 40? 35?
The Purge did 31.
31.
Yeah.
So that already
on 2,700 screens is pretty good.
That is a great number for that movie. It's going to continue to do just chip away. You're going to see a Purge 4, absolutely. And it makes sense that they would do this. It's just the way that they're making. They have a good strategy over there. Now the BFG, I think, is everything that what you guys said is that it hasn't been promoted in the right way. It didn't have that Spielberg kind of magic behind the marketing this time around. They weren't. It's like, yeah, people kind of thrown away. A lot of people didn't even know Spielberg did it. I haven't seen it yet, and I want to see it. But normally, I couldn't even 5 years ago. I couldn't imagine myself saying, I missed a Spielberg movie. I just couldn't imagine. This one, I'm like, I'll catch it when I catch it. Tarzan, though, I'm not getting behind them. It did better than we thought. It only made 40-something million. That is a disappointment. $45 million on that budget plus no marketing. That is a disappointment. They're just happy because they were projecting it to do so much worse than it did. That's not good, and it's going to continue to get worse as the weeks go on. They're not, and I don't know how it's going to do internationally, but that number 2, because they made $15 million more than it was tracking at. That's not a hit. It's going to be an ultimate disappointment.
I think the movie coming out might have shocked some people at how well it did, simply because it was not scoring well on Rotten Tomatoes. And you and I saw it, and I think we both found it entertaining at parts, but it just didn't really hold up as a great film. So, Schnepp, when you look at these takes, which movie stands out the most to you?
Well, I got to be honest. The Tarzan one stands out to me that it got to the second place, because I feel like Tarzan, the idea of Tarzan, is a little played out, and it's like the last few iterations of Tarzan were just like kind of box office bombs. So I was like, oh, well, here comes another Tarzan, something I've already seen a million times. It's like, oh, a guy raised by apes. I just saw a really cool version of it. It's called Jungle Book. Right. But it was a kid and had a bunch of cool talking animals, except a bunch of ape fightings, you know. So I don't know. I'm surprised that it got to the second place. It's a bummer for Independence Day that movie sucked so hard that it can't even get to number one on Independence Day. They're just like, nah.
Right,
You're
Mother's Day was able to do that.
I know, right? So you're lucky you're in the fifth. They should be happy they're in the number 5 pole position.
We declared our freedom from ever having to see another one of these movies.
Third
I
one.
love the first Independence Days. I know you guys do too.
Yeah.
I would never want to see another one of these. Get the hell out of my life for good.
It went back to like this Matrix now. There is only one. There's the original one, Independence Day. The other one's nope. So, and the other one, the BFG, it's weird. It's like I've been so unexcited to see this. It's like even the way the giants look, they're kind of disturbing and weird, and not in a fun like, hey, I can't wait to see that weird looking creature run around all giant style in like England or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's not appealing to me. And even the trailers, they just feel like a combination of a bunch of other things that I've seen before. So with that, it's like, I'm sure it's an amazing film. It's Spielberg and it's Roald Dahl, but it's like this weird combination where, and even just the title alone, the BFG, it's just, everything is kind of making me like, I'll see it next month, but what do I see before that? You know, it's like it's not in my top.
Yeah, I feel like the advertising push for the BFG, it just I never felt the immediacy that I need to go see this in a theater. You know, that's what you want, especially on a very competitive weekend like 4th of July. You want to let everybody know this is an event movie. You got to go check this thing out. And I think if you go see BFG, you will be pleasantly surprised at how good the movie is. A couple quick notes too is that Central Intelligence and The Conjuring 2 also stayed in the top 10, and they are knocking on the door of $100 million domestically. Let me throw it international just for a second. Which of these top 5 movies do you guys think is going to have the most sea legs when it comes to international waters, Schnepp?
My guess would be Tarzan and probably BFG. I don't think Independence Day is going to do well internationally, and I don't think,
The Purge Election Year, it takes place here in America.
Yeah, I think if it was Trump getting shot to death, maybe people across internationally would go to see it in droves.
I'll agree and disagree at the same time. I think Tarzan, because obviously the story is so well known, it's been around for a long time. I can see internationally doing well, but I think Independence Day, I wonder what it already is doing internationally. I'm sure it's made some money because they don't have to actually watch a lot of the real acting. They can watch some of the subtitles. And they don't have to see some of the embarrassing.
Get tricked.
Yeah, they can get tricked. Maybe they get some good voiceovers to make it seem like good acting and good dialogue. So I would say that internationally, those are the two that'll probably do well.
Hey, you know what? Apes, giants, or people running around shooting everyone in masks. Nothing could top Finding Dory this weekend in the box office.